Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video we'll be going through the North Melbourne victory. They won a game. They did it. What a team. Yeah, that's about where all the compliments go. They should have lost. If West Coast had another 6 shots and lost by 9 points, which isn't as bad as the efforts from Essendon, where they were down, where they had an extra 5 shots, down 25, 26, something about that range. But man, West Coast butchered it. They were 2 goals 15. If they were even anywhere sense of normal, or even just give them 4 more goals than that, 4 more goals, 20 extra points, they win by 9 points. They win by, 11 or something? Yeah, so they should have won West Coast, but they butchered the ball. As simple as that. But anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into this recap. Elliot Yeo 110. So he's come back from injury and he's returned to what he does best. A 50-point last quarter, huge effort, including a goal. Yeah, he was huge and pretty much sparked the comeback. But I mean, they just fell short. So yeah, doesn't really help his cause. Cripps 108. Doesn't really matter because he's a small forward and you know that he's going to drop a stinker next week. Waterman 93, he's back, but I would be worried given his injury history. Plus also, I know he's an undersized key and he's doing really, really well. I mean, he kicked 3 goals in the end. He somehow kicked 3 goals, 3 goals 2? 3 goals 2 in the end, which is a fair effort from him. But yeah, I just don't rate him as a fantasy prospect, to be honest with you, even though he is averaging 84, which is more consistent than the rest. I just don't like his injury history at the moment, and also he's a much more of a pod, and the role just says, given that we've said we don't want players that have good L3s, Waterman would be the exact guy that I wouldn't go for just because the role is glaring in my face that he is just going to put up if he gets stopped in a game for a 40 or a 50, then it's just a bad choice. Witherden 89, McGovern 60. We dropped off to 60s? The 5th best player had a 67. And that was on the 23-24 first half and then an 8 and 12. Duggan got concussed with about 2 minutes to go or something. Or 5 minutes to go. Yeah, he got concussed. So he's probably cooked. And that cooks his average as well, honestly. Not really. A 66 brings his average down to 3 or 4, something like that. Jimby, I thought, had a really good game, but he scored a 60. Flynn, 59. Which was just a huge last quarter where he scored 37 in it, which included a goal and also a couple of marks in there as well, a couple of mark and handballs off there to get the points that he needed. Well, he did score a 59 in the end, so he probably needed more. Gaff, 58. Petrocelli, 55. He's going to probably be really cheap next year, but he doesn't really have a good enough role to do anything. Hoff, 54. Shee, 51. Cully, 50. Jones, 49. Cole, 49. Darling, 44. Chesser, 42. I thought Chesser had an alright game. Did sort of fall silent in the last quarters. Barras, Edwards subbed out as well for those people that got him in Supercoach, as I believe he was fairly cheap in Supercoach. I think 193k with the negative break even. Ryan, 32. Williams, 30. Hutchinson was not the way to go. He does play an alright brand of footy, but it's just not the right role, and yeah, you just cannot have him in your side. And then Marek subbed on for a 28 in basically the last quarter and a bit. Simpkin topped it out for North with a 132. Some people will say, why don't we bring him in? I just don't like Simpkin in general, and I think there is some injury history there. Simpkin, let me just bring this up here. Why is he averaging 66 from 8 games? And you just see here that basically every other game before that was an absolute shocker. So yes, he probably had a role change or something to do with it, but I just think he has basically done not a career best, but a season best in every category except freeze 4, I believe, and 1 less mark, and tied his handball season high. But pretty much every single category across the board, he had his season best. So that is why I just don't rate Simpkin as an option this week. Tristan Cherry went off again, another one. So both ruckmen that I was looking at for Supercoach and Fantasy went off. I think Cherry is probably the better bet, almost just because he gets a lot more of the... honestly, it's hard to say, but I think it is the tackling that separates them. Tristan Cherry, I think, had 8 or 9 tackles, whereas I don't think the likes of a... Can I clear the filter? Thank you. Clear. 1 second. Let me bring up this game. And Tristan Cherry had 10 tackles. And then we look at the Swans game, and you'll see that Brody Grundy only had 2 tackles. So that was basically the difference in their scores. 8 tackles is 32 points. And yeah, that's basically the difference in those 2 scores. So do I want Cherry? Do I want Grundy? It'll be interesting to look at it. I think the North midfield is getting better over time, but man, it's tough to choose between them. Fisher, 115, he did basically nothing in the last quarter, but did his role, done his job on both formats. There you go. Larky kicked 5. Sheasel, 104, he was pretty good. 32, 22, 31, 19. Would have liked a little bit bigger of the last quarter just to kick on and score like a 110. But he's doing his job. He's scoring points. For those who traded him out, if you traded him out to Luke Ryan, you've absolutely hit the jackpot. But if you didn't trade him out to anyone other than Luke Ryan or basically a Jordan Clark, you basically haven't hit the jackpot, and you shouldn't have done that trade. Luke Juniak, I'm glad that I went Errol in the end. I may have some worries in terms of, not cap space, but sort of just in terms of ability to move on the points, I guess, or something, and get the desired upgrade. So maybe a guy like a Peatling actually comes into the frame of things for me. Wardlaw 94, Tucker 73, Scott 73, Powell 70. He was alright, would have liked a better second half, but 70 points is sort of not really there, not really doing anything special. So yeah, it's just sort of a middling score. Archer 54, Curtis 53, McDonald 51, Stevenson 51, Shields 49, Ford 46, Dawson 41, Taylor 40. Yeah, you just see here every score here down the bottom is pretty low, but every score up here, up the top here, pretty big for North, as they did dominate the game. I guess in terms of fantasy scoring with a 15.58 total score to a 12.94, but in the end West Coast really should have done better with their goal kicking, which would have helped out their scoring. And then for those unlucky, especially in Supercoach, as he was an option at 117, that went Will Dawson. Yes, he did get subbed out with an injury. I think it was it shoulder injury or something, or an elbow injury, on 0. So yeah, he basically cooked his average and didn't hit his break even in fantasy, and basically made no cash in Supercoach, and is a dead rookie now, which potentially gives us the chance of Biggie Nguyen coming back, but I doubt that would happen, as they'd probably just swing Toby Pink backward into the back line. It would be my guess. But anyway, that pretty much is the video there, going through West Coast versus North Melbourne. A very short one, just because it was an absolute horrific game to watch. Absolutely horrific game until the last quarter. The last quarter was fun to watch, but man, that first quarter was so bad that me and my dad were just making jokes at how bad it was. It was that poor. But anyway, that is the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.